Hi guys, welcome to our fourth class. As a reminder, daily we should be logging in to Launchpad. Okay, you have until midnight tonight to submit your virtual lockers in Google Classroom. Okay, and now would be a good time to get your journal so that way you can add notes to your spiral. Okay, your learning target for today is I can order a set of real numbers. And specifically, the two that we're going to focus on are square root and pi. We are also going to use the calculator, the Desmos calculator, as a tool to help us with the conversion of fractions into decimals. Okay. The checklist, or the way that we're going to achieve our learning target, right, is by identifying the types of numbers that we're given. Okay, we're going to convert those numbers to their easiest form. And to me, the easiest are converting them to decimals because we can line those decimals up. We can add zeros to fill in empty place values. And to me, it's a lot easier than dealing with fractions. Okay, we're going to use the calculator as a tool to help us convert. And then we're going to be able to determine which numbers are greater or less than the other. Okay, I included this here because I'm going to put a new link, or I put a new link in Google Classroom under resources. I linked it already. So if we click here, it takes me to this screen. Okay, and this is what you will also see in Google Classroom. So if you click on resources, it takes you automatically to this screen, right? If we click on calculator under resources, it takes us here. We need to be selecting graphing calculator and start practice. Okay, so then we're taken here to this screen. Our presentation slide told us to locate pi, to locate square root, and to try to input a fraction in there. So if you click down here, the bottom left-hand side, it says show keyboard. It pulls up all the different buttons that you can use here on the calculator. Okay, so pi is right here. Remember, pi is just a number. Last year, y'all referred to it as 3. Okay, y'all were estimating. This year, we are going to use the pi symbol. Okay, so it's important that we're able to locate it. Okay, the square root is to the left of the pi symbol. Square root is another math operator that we have. Okay, so you have to actually type numbers under there in order to get an answer. We can't just put the square root symbol and expect it to come out to some type of number. Okay, you have to actually input numbers and tell it what to do. Okay, to input a fraction, let's say I was trying to change or convert 3/4 into a decimal. Okay, so if I wanted to, I can say 3 divided by 4, and it automatically sets it up as a fraction for me. I can hit enter, and it keeps my answer there. Or I can go straight into the divide, and it sets up a fraction for me because it knows that divide, fraction means divide, right? So it gives me a spot for my numerator and it gives me a spot for my denominator. So if I went here, I can type 3. You can either click on it, you can touch it, or you can use the arrows to move up and down. Okay, so I'm going to put my 4 at the bottom, hit enter, and it keeps my work there, my answer. Okay, so that was just a little bit about locating the new symbols we're going to be using. Okay, you remember this from last class? We went over rational numbers, so that's why I'm here pointing at rational numbers. We focused on fractions and decimals. Okay, today we're going to add this part over here on the left-hand side. We're going to add the irrational numbers. Okay, when we group those together, the rational and irrational, that becomes our real number system. So right? They're separated. I have rational and I have irrational. When I put those together, they become the real number system. I'm going to move this in. So all types of numbers are real numbers, right? So we put those two types together and it becomes the real number system. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go add some notes to our journal. Just some important things for us to remember. So we took notes ordering rational numbers over here on the right-hand side. If you scooch over to this side, this is where we're going to add the new stuff. Okay, so we're going to say real numbers. And this is the slide that I just talked about, right? So every number falls into the real numbers category. Okay. Real numbers are separated into two subsections, right? So here we have rational numbers. That's what we worked on the other day. And the new one that we're going to talk about is irrational numbers. Okay, if you're irrational, you're one and done. You're just that type and that's it. So some examples of this one are the pi symbol or the square root, right? Or numbers that keep going and going and going and going. Okay, I call those the ugly numbers, but there's no such thing, right, as pretty and ugly numbers. Okay, so below rational over here on this side, you are also an integer. Okay, integers then go into whole numbers and natural numbers. So these are the numbers that we can count on our hand. Okay, so real numbers is our big category. Everything falls under a real number. Okay, it is split up into two smaller subsections, which are rational numbers and irrational numbers. Okay, if you're irrational, that's it. You're irrational and real, nothing else. Okay, if you're rational, then that means you are not only a real number, you are also rational, you're an integer, you're a whole number, and you're a natural number. Okay, so all of these are grouped together. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to talk about is the Jamboard that was posted in your Google Classroom. So if you go there to Google Classroom, you click on View Assignment, right? You click on the assignment. When that pops up, you click on View Assignment. Okay, and then it opens it up for you. Each student is going to have one created individually for them. So that way, anything that you add or make changes to will automatically save for you. Okay, each new slide will be a new question or a new problem, right? You're going to convert each of those numbers into their easiest form. Okay, so I like to use decimal. Okay, so I would convert every number that I see to decimal form. Okay, remember to add the zeros for missing place values like we did the day before. And then make sure that you're following directions that were given on the sticky note. Okay? Okay, so I just went into a random Google Classroom, okay, for one of my class periods. I went to classwork, okay, under week 2 is where I posted the Jamboard assignment for your class period. Okay, so I will post it here in the asynchronous learning. Okay, so if you're in here watching the video, I will also post it here for you so that way you can just easily click it and make changes to it. Okay, so asynchronous learning, you'll have today's date on there. You can click on it and access your document through there. But for now, I'm going to show you what it would look like if you went in and clicked on it. So if you clicked on the Jamboard, make sure you're clicking on View Assignment, okay? Yours will pop up and it should look like this. Click here and it will open it up for you. It will rename it with your name included. Okay, so here's just an example. I have the problem number. I have the sticky notes that tell me what to do, right? What steps to follow. And over here on the left-hand side are the different options that I can use to help me answer the questions on here. Okay, so if I want to pick a highlighter, I can make sure and get my highlighter. I can switch the colors, right? Important words that I might want to highlight are least to greatest. Okay, and then once I have them in order from least to greatest, Ronald wants the piece that is the shortest. Right, so that's how we can interact that way. We can put a text box. We can change the color. We can say this side is my least side. Then this side over here will be my greatest. Okay, and then you are able to move the actual numbers where they need to go, right? So let's say 9/100ths really goes over here because it's one of my greater numbers, right? We don't actually know until we convert it to decimal. Okay, so after we convert these to decimal using the Desmos calculator, okay, you should be able to place these where they belong and circle the correct answer, right, to answer our question.